4 years now. And I thought today I would maybe show y'all some of the plants that I've had the chance to grow that I really enjoy. So this is a plant catalog put out by Proven Winners, which is a nursery brand. They grow a lot of plants. And I've had the chance to grow them from starts. So here we have some different types of hydrangeas, some oak leaves. It looks like, oh, maybe not. So these panicle blossoms look like an oak leaf, like the Gatsby cows. We have some pink smooth hydrangeas and some white smooth hydrangeas. So, me in particular, I don't really have a niche that I work in. While my specialty is houseplants, I have been known to work with annuals, perennials, shrubs, trees. Wherever there's work, you'll find me. So we open this up, and already we have a lot of color here. A couple different spireas here with their pink blossoms and green leaves. So I won't read these bits, but it does have some useful information, such as how to read the tags on the plants. So I found that these tags have been incredibly instrumental, especially with people that are not so botanically inclined. I think these new tags that I've been using are a really great way to give information to people who don't necessarily know what to look for, as it has the light levels you need, the zones, how big it'll get, the bloom time, when you should prune it, the type of soil conditions, how to care for it, what it's best used for, and the deer resistance, as well as a little blurb about the specific cultivar that you're looking at. This is just a little blurb about where you can grow these plants in warmer climates, or how you can grow them, and some different plants that are suitable for warmer climates. Now this is the chart that I mostly use because I am here in Iowa, right here, also known as the middle of friggin' nowhere. So in my particular area, we are zone 5. And this means that I believe it's our average temperatures get to, at the most, negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So you would like to plant plants that are graded to zone 5 or lower. So a zone 2 would be able to grow up here. Zone 3 this evergreen, also called a cedar tree. These are a columnar evergreen that you see everywhere, especially in places that are extremely low maintenance, such as cemeteries or institutions. They're a great hedging evergreen. There's some other little ones like the magic ball here. Cutesy little guy. There's the polar golds, which look like these, but yellow. There's aronia, or chokeberries. I've never really had any experience with aronia in a landscape, but it's great for pollinators. It's an old-fashioned, very tough kind of shrub. So, my boyfriend and I planted a bunch of them at work, so we'll have to see in the next coming years how it turns out. And then there are barberries, like these gold pillars here. I love barberries, but they are terrible sticker bushes. They're full of thorns, and unfortunately, they tend to get a lot of dead in the middle. They're not super excited about our climate, so there are a lot of these cyrus that are planted, and they're gorgeous, but they do tend to die in the middle. They usually get sheared off, which I imagine they don't like to do much. And then they grow back a lot better. There's the cinnamons, the tangelos, citrus, gold beret, mini saffrons, and mini salsas. All different bright colors. The beauty berries are a wonderful shrub as well. They don't really like the climate I have here, unfortunately, because they're an incredibly bright royal purple berry on dark flowers, and they bloom in the fall. So I think I've grown these purple pearls here, and they're so pretty. Unfortunately, they just don't do very well here. Then there's a beauty bush here, which I haven't had too much experience with as well, but it looks very intriguing. It looks like it can tolerate shade, which is a very large problem with people wanting to grow very showy things in shade. And while there are showy things, they're not nearly as much as in the sun. There's this golden treasure betula, a little dwarf birch. These are a lime green kind of chartreuse little bush. It's a real pretty, real airy. And bluebeards. These ones are, let's see, I think the Beyond Midnights, they're a little more blue than this. They're not so purple. And my personal favorite of the bluebeards is the Sunshine Blue 2s. Now, unfortunately, these don't do well here. They are zone 5, but they, I don't believe they really like our cold, and they don't like how soggy it is. So, I've tried to plant them last year, so we'll see if it comes back this next spring. deciduous, and the Japanese beetles love them. Will eat them to goddamn pieces. It's ridiculous. But they'll get little blackberries, and although they do get eaten by the Japanese beetles, they grow back pretty fast. Now we have the boxwoods, or buxus. I haven't grown many boxwoods from proven winners. We tend to get green velvets and green mountains, as those are time-tested and true, but I'll have to see if we'll grow more of these this year. And then we have our burning bushes, part of the euonymus family. These will turn bright, bright, bright red in the fall. They're a dark green with a almost leathery kind of leaf the rest of the time. You need to plant these in as full sun as possible to get the best color. They're very big shrubs, although these are dwarfs. They can get up to 6 to 8 feet tall, at the least. Pedalias. Butterfly bushes are a love-hate relationship because here in Iowa, you can either have them last for 10 plus years. My mother had quite a few butterfly bushes that lasted beautifully, but she planted them right by her front door, so you would get swarmed with butterflies whenever you walked out the door. So now she is afraid of butterflies because they feel really, really weird. But the bigger problem with these is they really don't like our inconsistent winters. And they tend to be very short-lived, maybe only lasting a year, maybe 2, maybe 3. But all in all, it's something that either works for you wonderfully or doesn't work at all. And they're kind of a pain to deadhead. But the butterflies are constantly on these, and the bees. I've seen, 10, 20, 30 butterflies in our little Bedalia section of maybe 40 plants. So perhaps there were more butterflies and I just wasn't really counting. Could have been over 100 for all I knew. But they are extremely bright, almost neon. They do like their water. They can tend to more. These summer sky ones are really interesting because they're a light lavender flower, but then they have these variegated leaves. They grow quite a bit bigger than most pedalias as well. Little button bushes, chase trees, Chinese fringe. This looks very interesting, but I don't believe I can grow it in my climate. Clematis, or the correct Latin pronunciation, clematis. These are a improved version of the Jackmanis, which is one of the most popular clematis cultivars ever. The Viva Polonias here, these ones are real interesting. They've got huge flowers on them. Sweet summer loves and sweet autumns go really well together if you plant them both on the same trellis. Coral berries. I love these so much. berries, and even with our shrubs that we're currently overwintering at work, they still keep their berries, and they're still just as bright. So I planted a few of these. I really hope they come back, because these are absolutely gorgeous in the summer and fall. Cotoneaster, crepe myrtle, deutzias. Deutzia is a wonderful shrub for low maintenance, very low pruning, easy, flowy, and very pretty shrubs. So we have some Yuki snowflakes, which is a little odd because Yuki means snow, so I suppose it's called snowflake. And the creme fraiche, the Yuki cherry blossoms, and the Chardonnay pearls, which are my favorite because they have a lime green leaf with a little teensy tiny white flower. These are my favorite shrubs to recommend to people with morning sun and still wanting a nice spring bloomer and wanting it to be small and low maintenance. I sell quite a bit of these to older folks and condos. There's some bush honeysuckles. The black, the orange, and the red. Dogwoods, which are a pain in the butt to deal with. While these are really pretty, every year they get put in full sun, and they hate the full sun. At least at my nursery. And I keep telling people, do not put those in the full sun. And I move them to a part sun area where they don't get that black spot, and they're not getting all yellow and pale from the sun, and then they get moved. It's very annoying. I'm going to tell people that I'm the only one who can deal with the dogwoods next year. Nobody knows how to take care of them. My apologies. Elderberries, which can get quite large. They spread out quite a bit. These are a native plant, so there's the lemony lace and the black beauties, which are a black version of those. And those can grow, they can grow in the shade even. And they look very similar to a very bushy Japanese maple. So, since Japanese maples are semi-like butterfly bushes, either it's going to work or it's absolutely not going to work. So these are a good alternative to that. For Cynthias, these are the first bloomers. They bloom bright yellow in the spring, and then they have a green leaf the rest of the year. Different types of holly. Looks like these ones are not hermaphrodites. So some hollies you can get, they have two plants in them. One's a female, one's a male, so that the plant will bear berries. But it looks like these ones are just either males or females. You have to keep that in mind if you're going to get a holly and you want berries. Either it's got to be two plants in one pot, or you need the male and the female. Or rather, this is a female, this is a male. The winterberry hollies smooth hydrangea, also known as an Annabelle hydrangea. There are different types. You've got your big leaves, panicles, oak leaves, mountains, climbing, and smooth. So big leaf hydrangeas are like a florist hydrangea with the big mop-head blooms on them. Your panicles are going to be a cone-shaped flower. They're going to be very large. And panicle hydrangeas tend to be, well, you can get very small ones, but they tend to be a bigger shrub. Oak leaf hydrangeas are a native hydrangea. Those ones have a conical bloom, but it's very loose and there's a bunch of little blooms rather than one big unit. Those ones have a leaf that looks like an oak leaf, as its name suggests. And those ones get quite large as well. I believe, let's see, the pink ones might get 10 to 12 and the white ones might get 6 to 8. I might have that mixed up. It's been a few months since I've sold them. Mountain hydrangeas are very similar to the big leaves. They're much more cold hardy, but their flowers are not nearly as showy. So those tend to stay quite small. I think those are generally 2 to 3 by 2 to 3 feet. So those ones I love recommending to people that have hard places to grow in, such as maybe just some morning sun and they need kind of a tougher plant. Mountain hydrangeas were made to grow in tough conditions, so they're very versatile, very vigorous. Climbing hydrangeas, I don't sell too many of those. Those are like what you would see at a cottage, or growing up a tree, perhaps up a brick wall. Those ones they're a loose kind of flower like an oak leaf or almost like a lace cap. And then there are smooth hydrangeas like these. So these are the different big leaf hydrangeas. I love big leaves, but in Iowa, where I've grown in a couple different places, they tend to bloom only for about 3 to 5 years, and then either due to pruning trouble or climate trouble, they stop. So you don't want to prune these at all. At least with, say, like the endless summer cultivars, because they bloom off of old wood. And if you prune them, then you're taking off those new buds for the next year. Deer have a tendency to eat the new buds as well, and then you don't get any blooms. Or sometimes the frost kills off the buds, and then you have no blooms. But even still, they're absolutely gorgeous. And these are the ones that, depending on the type of soil, you'll get pink, red, blue, or purple colors. These are mountain hydrangeas. I love these ones. Very tough, but still really pretty. Panicles are my favorite. and then they slowly get lighter than these, but more, I don't know if you can quite see it like these. Absolutely gorgeous. A little lime, which is the small version of a limelight. The little quick fires. The quickfire hydrangea is the earliest blooming panicle hydrangea. Zinfandels, Pinky Winkies, stupid name, but beautiful shrub. Here's some oak leaves. So the leaves turn maroon or burgundy in the fall, and they have these giant flowers on them. They're kind of loose though. So, Gatsby Gal, Gatsby Moon, Gatsby Pink, and smooth hydrangeas, like the Annabelles. So they're coming out with all different colors of these. The rubies are real pretty. The spirit twos are very pretty. The Incredibles. I am kind of, a little conflicted on these because even though they're stronger than a normal Annabelle, these do tend to dry up and flop if they get too big. So they're something that need a little bit more of a learning curve for me to take care of these better. Bloomerang lilacs. One of my absolute favorite lilacs. I've planted the dark purples, and I've seen the pinks in a landscape. These ones are reblooming lilacs, and they bloom in the spring. And then if you prune them right after they're done blooming, they'll bloom again in the summer, and then if you burn them again, they'll bloom again in the fall. So they'll at least bloom twice, but they tend to bloom 3 times, at least for the several years that I've had mine. And these are fragrant. They're not as fragrant as an old-fashioned lilac, but they're still very fragrant. 9 Barks, Summer Wine, Coppertina, and Ginger Wine are my favorites. These ones, you have to water a lot. They love water, and they can get powdery mildew, but they're very gorgeous, and they can get quite big, but they're so bright. They're a really good shrub to have, in addition to them being a native shrub. Potentillas, also known as cinquefoils. I don't like growing the pink ones because they tend to get bleached and they don't do as well, but the yellow ones are amazing. Those things, if you want something you can't kill, you want one of those. Privets. This one is a golden privet. I love those. Good hedge. Quince. These are real pretty too. I haven't grown any rhododendrons by Griffin winners that I know of. I tend to really enjoy the BJMs and the BJMs Elites. So we'll have to see if we get any of those this year. But, so all azaleas are rhododendrons, but not all rhododendrons are azaleas. They do have some differences. Altheas, part of the hibiscus family, also known as a rose of Sharon. So there's the different chiffon colors. We have the blue, lavender, pink, and white. So I think the most popular has been the pink and white. And then the little Kims are a good small Althea, as well as the sugar tips. They have a pom-pom like double flower, and those ones are variegated and don't set seed. Oh my these ones, as they were just so pretty. The different oh so easy roses, landscape roses that are very low maintenance, very easy to care for, and pretty compact too. Smoke bushes, I like them, but they're a little hard to grow sometimes. Spirea. So spirea are a great, easy, low-maintenance shrub that's deer resistant. So there's all different colors of these. Most people know just the pink flowers with green leaves. But the blue kazoos are blue-toned. The painted ladies are variegated. The candy corns in the fall are this bright orange color. I wish they had a spring picture because these are amazing. They have yellow and orange and lime green and red leaves when they first start growing. And I think we sold out of them like immediately when they started to bloom and started to really flesh out. I love those. I want to grow so many more of those. Hypericums have these little puffy yellow flowers, but I love the golden rules. So this type of hypericum has bright lime green leaves, and let's see, I think I have it in a northeastern exposure, so we'll see how it does when it comes back next year. But it's a very small shrub. We have the summer sweets, which are very fragrant, as well as the sweet spires are fragrant as well, which is a native plant. It's a very beautiful plant to grow. The ideas. Viburnums. I don't like viburnums. I hate viburnums. They smell weird and they're a pain in the butt, but they're awesome for hedging, so I'll give them that. Let's see, Weigelia. Some people also call them Wegelas or Weigelas. As far as I've ever known, it's always been Weigelia, but there are many different ways to say this one. So, the best-selling ones are the fine wine, spilled wine, and wine and roses. They have a dark leaf with a bright, almost neon magenta flower. The check marks are gorgeous as well. These rebloom too, which has been awesome, especially in the summer when it's hot and you still see some flowers on them. There's also the Maimonet and Maimonet sunsets, which are a variegated Weigelia. Those ones are real pretty. I prefer the Maimonet sunsets, but I like more yellow-toned plants rather than white. The sonic blooms were super popular, especially the pearls. And winter creeper euonymus. I don't like the white album just because I don't like the white and the green, but the gold splash are one of my favorites. Now there's just some specifics on the zone and how big